So hi, it's Ken again. Welcome to another beautiful sunny morning in Kirkby and Ashfield, Nottinghamshire. Okay, so today we're going to do the Yi Jin Jing, the muscle tendon change classic. I've already done one version of this. This is a different version that I learned from a teacher called Master Dong, who now teaches at Wudang. Teaches the Sanfeng Tai Chi system at Wudang Mountains in China. So this is his Yi Jin Jing. Okay, so we'll get straight into it. So stand up with your feet about the same distance as your hips or your shoulders apart. Feet parallel to each other. So the same distance between the inside of the toes, the heels, and the knees. Head as if it is suspended from above. Imagine you have a long ponytail on the top of the head that's tied up to the heavens, or as it says in the classic writings of Tai Chi, imagine your Q is tied up to the rafters. You know, the Q is the like the French plait that the Chinese men had to grow their hair into during the Qing dynasty, I think it was in China. Don't quote me on that one. You know, imagine your Q is tied up to the rafters. Pelvic hair is tilted forwards, feels like it's hanging down from that suspension from above. Sink your chest to round the upper back. Sink the ribs to fill the lower back. Standing nice and upright. And when your arms are close to the body, make sure you have a small gap underneath each armpit, as if you're cradling a small bird's egg underneath there without crushing or dropping these eggs. Touch the tongue to the roof of the mouth, just behind the front teeth. Teeth and lips are gently together, but not clenched. Okay, so we start with the hands into quite tight fists. Touch the little fingers to where the ilium, the blades of the pelvis stick out, what most people call the hips. Okay, make sure you're not flaring your ribs out or sticking the chest out when you do this. So still sink the chest, round the back, sink the ribs to fill the lower back. You feel this little bit of a kind of a tautness across here, like they're pulling an arrow into a bow. Sitting down, breathe in. And breathing out like a superhero taking off. Stretching up. Again, make sure you're not flaring your ribs out or sticking the chest out or curving in the lower back. Holding this stretch. So you're stretching up, so you feel the connective tissue, the myofascia or myofascia stretching back. Holding this stretch, but you're not holding your breath. Breathing in. And breathing out. Just hold the stretch. Breathing, contracting back. Breathing in, coming up. And breathing out. I tend to bend my knees as I go down here, punching down towards my toes. And then I straighten my legs. Make sure I'm not flaring the ribs out or curving in the lower back. Feel the stretch all the way up the back of the body. So you're stretching your superficial back line. That line, all those bands of connective tissue that run from the toes or the soles of the feet, the back of the body to the top of the head, the forehead, and stomach. Holding this stretch, and make sure you're not holding your breath. Really nice hamstring stretch, buttock stretch, piriformis muscle stretch. Holding the stretch, you're not holding it. Feel the elasticity of the connective tissue. It's lengthening them. So it's not just the muscles, it's all the connective tissue, those bands at the back of the body. And breathe in, bend the knees, and bring yourself back up. Okay, so I'm turning my right toes in. You can mirror me here, but turn the toes in so they're facing towards the toes of the other foot, or pointing towards the toes of the other foot. Sit back, reaching out, take a breath in. Breathing out, sinking down into that rear supporting leg. So this front leg is empty, dropping down. Feel the stretch moving up the back of this outstretched leg on the back of the body, all the way to the top of the head, the forehead into the nose. So again, stretching those superficial back lines. Feel the support of the lateral lines up the side of the body, or this supporting leg here. Make sure you're not hunching your back or letting the head hang forward. Really feel a lengthening of those bands of connective tissue that run down the back of your arms, or those arm bands. Holding this stretch, you're not holding the breath. Really feel, as I said, the stretch from the toes of the outstretched foot, all the way up the back of the body, to the top of the head, the forward and the toes. Make sure your body is going straight forward, so you're not going left or right. Make sure the toes are pointing straight up and towards you. Holding this stretch, but you're not holding the breath. And make sure you're not flaring your ribs out, curving in the lower back, or really bulging out the lower back. Holding this stretch, but you're not holding the breath. Feel this supporting leg compressed against the ground, so breathing in, release that compression. Touch the front of that outstretched leg onto the floor. So we worked on those two triangles of the feet in a few of the previous films. So you got that front triangle touching towards the floor, stretching up, reaching up. Make sure you're not flaring your ribs out or curving in the lower back. Sitting down on that supporting leg. Make sure you're not locking out the leg. More weight towards the triangle at the rear of that supporting foot. Holding the stretch, reaching up. but you're not holding your breath. You really feel a stretch of the superficial front line now that runs from the toes, up the front of the body, up into the neck, into the skull. Holding a stretch, but you're not holding your breath. Come down, turn those outstretched toes in, sit back onto that leg, reaching out. Take a breath in, breathe out, lower yourself down. Feel the stretch moving up the back of the outstretched leg, from the toes, on the back of the leg, the buttocks, the lower back, upper back, all the way to the top of the head, the forehead, into the nose. It's like pulling an arrow into a bow, pulling an arrow into a bow. Reaching out, feel the stretch of those bands that run down your arms, the back of the arms, in between the shoulder blades, holding the stretch. And it's not tensing here, you want to be stretching those anatomy trains, or the what was called the sinews. So this is the muscle tendon changing or change classic. So you're stretching out all the tendons. No tendons join muscles to the bone. So you're stretching all of the connective tissue. Holding the stretch but not holding the breath. And again, this is an empty stance. Make sure these toes are pointing straight up and towards you. Make sure your upper body's going straight over this front. Holding the stretch, not the breath. And breathing in, coming up, stretching up. Reaching up, again make sure you're not flaring ribs out or curving in the lower back. Sitting down onto this rear supporting leg, make sure you have more weight towards the rear of the foot, 70-30 weight distribution between those two triangles, and just the front triangle of the outstretched leg touching the floor, and it's an empty stance, holding the stretch but you're not holding your breath. Nice deep diaphragmatic breath. So again, stretching that superficial front line, the band of connective, or the bands of connective tissue that run at the front of the body, from the toes up into the neck. Then make your hands back into fists, and the hands remain in fists for the remainder of these Yi Jin Jing stretches. So feet back to shoulder width. Take a breath in, pulling up like pulling an arrow into a bow here, like shooting an arrow down. Breathing in, coming up, and breathing out, stretching out. Again, you can mirror me here. You can bend your knees to start off with, punch the opposite fist to the opposite foot. Straighten the legs and punch up with the other fist and look up towards that fist in the air. Make sure you are straightening your legs here. Be careful if you do have any problems with your knees. Sink the ribs to fill the back, holding the stretch. You're not holding the back. I find this one really good if you do have problems with your neck, your mastoid muscles, the trapezius muscle. Really good stretch. Holding the stretch but not the back. Sink the ribs to fill the back. Up, bend the knees, breathing in, again, breathing out, punching down, bend the knees to start off with, punch the opposite fist down to the opposite foot, straighten the legs, punching up with the other fist and looking up towards that fist, straighten the legs, holding the stretch but you're not holding your breath, again sink the ribs, fill the back, be careful if you have any problems with the knees here, holding the stretch, so you're working your spiral lines here, spiral lines wrap around your torso, coming up the legs, wrapping around the torso and going to the back of the neck. Stretching your arm bands as well. Working with your functional lines, the lines that crisscross the front to the back of the body from the hips to the shoulders. Holding the stretch, not the breath. Breathing, coming up. Breathing out, turn around, spiraling round, punching up and punching down. Make sure you're not flaring the ribs out, curving in the lower back. Holding this stretch but you're not holding your breath. Again, working with those spiral lines. The spiral lines, they travel up from the inside of the ankle and up the back of the legs, coming up to the outside of that same hip, wrapping around the body, around the torso, around the flank, and joining at the back of the neck at the same side that you came up from. Holding the stretch, not the breath. And I'm not really holding this for any particular duration. If you wanted to, you could do it for a count of 10 each stretch. Stretching, then feel the stretch contracting back. Breathing in, then breathing out, turn around to the other side. Punching up and punching down, looking back and down. Make sure you're not tilting the head all the way down. Holding this stretch but you're not holding your breath. Really feel a spiral coming up through the whole body. Sink the ribs, fill the back, holding the stretch, not the breath. Breathing in, feel that stretch contracting back. Ride that stretch to bring you back to this upright shoulder width position. Okay, now bring your feet in together, heels touch together. Feet are on the face of a clock, left foot would be pointing somewhere between 10 and 11, right foot somewhere between 1 and Breathing in, bring your elbows as close together as you can get them. So we're going down into squat here. And only go down as far as is comfortable for you. Be careful if you don't have any problems with the knees here. You can keep the feet flat on the floor if you do have problems with the knees here. If you want to go further down, you can raise the heels. Going down, rolling yourself or curling yourself into a ball. Bring the elbows in towards your groin. Sink the ribs, fill the back, tuck your head in. Holding this stretch, but you're not holding your breath. Really screw yourself up into as much as a ball as you can. Breathing in, coming up. So your arms up and behind you, straighten your legs, sink the ribs, fill the back. Upper body is parallel to the floor. Don't let the head hang forwards. You're touching your neck against the collar of the shirt. Sink the ribs, fill the back. Feel the stretch all the way up the superficial back lines of the back of the body, from the toes, along the soles of the feet to the top of the head, the forehead to the nose. Really feel yourself supporting this movement with your core, with your center, your deep frontal line. Holding the stretch but not the breath. Breathing in, bend the knees, coming up, moving from your core, from your center, from the dancia. Stepping out to shoulder width. Turn your toes in. So pigeon toe or pin toe here. Be careful if you have any problems with the knees here. Breathe in. And breathing out. Again, bend your knees as you go down. Punch the fists down towards your toes. Straighten the legs. Stretching down. So stretching the superficial back line again. Sink the ribs, fill the back, holding the stretch, but you're not holding your breath. Let the head hang down. Breathing in, bend the knees, coming up. Breathing out, stretching up. Looking up. Again, make sure you're not flaring the ribs out or sticking the chest out. Holding the stretch, but you're not holding your breath. Stretching the superficial front line here. Always working with the core. Holding the stretch, but you're not holding your breath. And coming down. Turn the toes out. And just kind of loosen up the body. So hitting the inguinal creases here, the groin area. Tapping. You can hit quite hard here. You can do it as a body conditioning if you want to. Just nice and gentle. When the legs meet the upper body. The ribs here, the floating ribs. Just releasing any residual tension or any tension that might have built up after doing the stretches there. Do the buttocks, the glutes, gluteus maximus, largest muscle in the body. And relaxing them down. The lower back, lumbar section, the rectospinal muscles. The quadriceps, the sartorial muscle, this muscle that runs up here, longest muscle in the body. With a IT band, a little bit track, and down with these tibia muscles here, to the calves, the gastrocnemius muscles, adductors, and then I start to turn. Bring one hand onto the shoulder, or one fist onto the shoulder, the other hand onto the lower back, tapping. The movement's coming from the whole body. Feel the strength of the earth behind the fist. You're not putting the tai chi into this. And then this is the beating of the drum. In those Japanese or Chinese hand drums. Double skinned drum on a stick. 2 beaters each on a piece of string. You twist the stick. The drum rotates. The beaters hit either side of the drum. Your body's the drum. Your legs are the stick. Your arms are the beaters. Covering the whole of your torso. Directing the fists, the arms, using your waist. The strength of your front, cover as much of the torso as you can. Settling down in place. Your hands over your central gravity. Pointing in. Your hands are still in fists, but you're pointing the Laogong points towards the ball in the belly. The Laogong points in the centre of the hands to that ball, about 3 fingers below the belly button, and in the centre of the body. Close your eyes, open your hands, and just let your mind, your awareness, your thoughts, your intention, your breath, everything settle. Just that area about 3 fingers below the belly button and in the centre. Bring your hands to rest over that. Take the thumb of the outside hand and touch the very centre of the inside hand. Breathing in, pull your belly towards the back, tense your buttocks. Pull the hands over the hips. Breathing out, relax the belly, relax the buttocks, drop the hands down the hips, down your thighs. Open your beautiful eyes. Okay, so that's Yi Jin Jing, the muscle tendon change classic, or the muscle tendon changing classics. Really good set of stretches. As I said, I learned it from a martial arts master called Master Q Gong, who now teaches Sanfeng style Tai Chi at Wudan Mountains in China. Okay, so practice it or don't, but make sure you are doing something. Don't get sluggish. Don't get sluggish. Don't get sluggish.